Hi guys, welcome once again to the Coffee and Heroes show on our YouTube channel. Delighted to have you with us on this beautiful Sunday in Belfast, the day after DC Fandome. We'll get into more of that later, of course. But we're always going to go through a lot of different elements on the Coffee and Heroes show. Going to chat a little bit about the store, going to chat about my favourite titles from this week, going to talk about what's coming out next week. We'll get into DC Fandome in quite a lot of detail as well. And then I'm even going to have a nice unboxing part for you at the very end for a new figure for the personal collection this week as well. So again, nice and busy week in the store. Loads of great titles this week that got people through the doors. You know, I'll chat about some of my favourites certainly. But yeah, pull lists were pretty big this week. Lots of new customers again. It's always wonderful to see more and more new faces walking through the doors throughout the week. And, you know, hopefully the word is spreading about this store. You know, it still does bring me a lot of joy to know that, you know, we're going over 3 years now, and it's wonderful to see that people are still finding us. You know, it shows that the community is even bigger than we thought, and hopefully people are digging what we're doing and therefore spreading the good word about it. So yeah, it's really, really satisfying seeing you guys walk through the door and having new people to talk to, and, you know, finding out about new people and their likes and dislikes and all that kind of stuff. So as always, at Coffee and Heroes, all are welcome. You know, even people who don't like Batman. You know, I won't talk to you much, but, you know, you're always welcome anyway. So yeah, the brilliant week in the store again, as I say, and I'm preparing for an even bigger one this week. I'll get into that in a little more detail in a second when we go through the invoice for next week. But as always, I like to, you know, chat about the titles that I enjoyed the most this week. And, you know, I set this up as a new feature on the show a few weeks ago, and I was always going to pick 3 titles. I'm already going to break my rules and sort of chat about 4 this week. But that's just because one of them I feel needs a bit of attention brought to it, just for how vital it is for understanding a larger story that a lot of guys are on. So if we're going to talk about the things I enjoyed this week, it's a really good mix as well. It is satisfying that I read so much stuff that, you know, I enjoy the DC stuff just as much as the Marvel, just as much as the indie. I mean, possibly my book of the week, though, you know, the others are on it close as well, but this really struck a chord with me. We've been chatting an awful lot on the podcast and certainly on the YouTube stuff as well, and in store about Once and Future. This week we got a double release of it. We got issue 9 and issue 10 because of the way some of the releasing has happened recently and titles getting shipped over from America and so forth. There's been the odd delay here and there. So we got double shipped this week, which I'm not going to complain about. So number 9 was excellent. Number 10 is one of the single best issues of anything I've read this year. I know I seem to say this nearly every week, but this really about something or other. You know, if it's not this, it's pulp, or it's, you know, I do use single best things quite a lot, I am aware, but, you know, this really struck a chord with me. Issue 10 was thoroughly brilliant. The last 5 to 6 pages are everything that meta comic books should be. There's, I would never sort of spoil any sort of surprises as to why, because there will be people who are trade reading it as well. But it just shows that Kieran Gillen continues to be an absolute master of his craft. I even put up a little tweet just after I'd finished reading it saying that I think that Kieran Gillen, writer, Dan Mora, artist, and Tamara Bonvillain, who is the colorist, should all just retire from comics effective and immediately, because I don't know if they'll ever top this. This issue was outstanding and easily a contender for best single issue of the year. So Once and Future number 10. I thoroughly dug, as always, Thor number 6. There seems to be a slightly longer wait in between Thor issues, which is the only frustrating thing to this title, because everything else about it is absolutely brilliant. The art is on point, the storytelling is great, it's big, it's epic, there's consequences in every single issue, there's links to Donny Cates' other titles in every single issue. It is just thoroughly brilliant every time, and it always goes close to the top of the pile for me, because I just think what Cates is doing, you know, and to follow a run that was so legendary of Jason Aaron and then, you know, make it your own so quickly is a massive testament to Donny Cates. So Thor number 6. And something that follows a good line to that, of course, would be Batman 97. I talk about how effortlessly that Donny Cates has followed Jason Aaron's run. Tynion has done the same from Tom King's run. He has made it his own. He has introduced new villains. He has got this massive epic event within 6 or 7 issues of writing the title called Joker War. Everything about this is epic and big and awesome. The art is getting better by the issue as well. I recently just got issues 95 back in stock, which is the start of Joker War. This is part 3. But I want to try and make sure that we've got 95 and 96 on the shelves for people who are maybe a little later coming to it or only hearing good things. But this is brilliant. This is just really essential Batman stuff. But the reason that I've introduced one more issue this week is because the Death Metal guidebook came out. Now, there was obviously all this hype a few weeks ago regarding the Legends of the Dark Knights, which was the first appearance of the Robin King, the origin, all that good stuff. The reason I just wanted to highlight this a little bit, now I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would put it slightly below those 3, but it was still an excellent issue. But the reason I'm bringing attention to it is because I feel it's my duty as someone who owns a comic store and loves comics so much to keep people informed on bits and pieces. And this is essential to understanding metal. There is a part at the start which Scott Snyder has written, and it essentially fills the blanks between the end of his Justice League run, where the Justice League run through a large door essentially, and the start of Metal, showing how the Batman Who Laughs took over Earth and reshaped it in his image. Absolutely essential to knowing the story. But also I recommend this issue because Chip Zdarsky has written for DC, yay! And he did a really cool Harley story as well, set in the Metal universe. He even managed to bring in some villains from The Dark Knight Returns into it, which I thought was a pretty cool little thing as well. A little cool Easter egg for the fans. So yeah, I just highly recommend getting this issue. We do still have a few copies in store, not loads, but a couple. Because I know some people are reading Metal, just the main series. Some people are gobbling up everything that comes out to do with it. And I always like to think that those tie-ins are not always essential. Sometimes they're just about adding texture and depth to the world. But this one is essential. So I just wanted to let you guys know, just so you can pick it up while there's still copies on the shelves and while there's still a cover price before, nonsense speculators get involved. But I'll not jump on that high horse again. So yeah, so that was this week, and there were tons of other great titles as well. There was a couple of double shipped titles this week. Gideon Falls had a couple of issues. Last issue of The Old Guard came out. There was a lot of really good stuff, but those were just the standouts for me. So in terms of what's coming next week, again, loads of good stuff. Just got the invoice up here. So there's new Action Comics next week. We've got new Amazing Spider-Man. I know people are really enjoying the Sins Rising stuff on that. We've got Batgirl number 48. I thought 47 was excellent, which is part of the aforementioned Joker War. So really looking forward to that as well. We've got Batman Superman number 11 coming, which has been pretty great so far. There's this tiny little title coming out this week. I feel it needs more attention brought to it because I don't, mention it enough. But this wee title called Batman 3 Jokers is coming out this week. I'm scared to get this delivery. We have 237 copies of it coming. So suffice to say, we will have plenty on the shelves for those who are coming to it late. We do have tons of pre-orders. This is easily the biggest title we've ever got in for the store. Hype around it is real. It's a premium book. It looks great. Vicky and I just recently put together 300 brand new bags and boards that we're going to be, using for these. We want everything about this to be premium prestige, and I can't wait for it to come in. I can't wait to read it. I've avoided all the preview stuff for it because, I'm happy just to wait. So really, really looking forward to that, I have to say, 3 Jokers. So again, if you haven't got a pre-order, just get in touch. I am going to stick some copies on the website though as well, because we're getting all the covers in, as we've chatted about before, cover A, cover B, and the 3 premiums as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We've got Chew number 2 coming. We've got Daredevil Annual coming, which is written by Chip Zdarsky. Looks really, really cool. We've got new Detective Comics, again, part of the Joker War as well. We've got Empire Captain America and Empire Avengers coming to an end this week. We've got new Hellblazer coming in. We've got the House of X and Powers of 10 trade paperback coming in. Up until now, it was only available in a glorious hardcover, but it was a hardcover that came with a price. It was over £50. And that's a big investment if you're not sure about the story. But the trade paperback is coming in a little bit cheaper than that, so hopefully people will be able to jump onto that. We got the Joker Killer Smile hardcover coming as well. We've got Justice League Dark 25. Philadelphia is back, number 7. Really looking forward to that. I obviously talk a lot about how much I love the trade paperback that recently came out. So this is the new jumping on point, issue 7. What else have we got? We've got Mirka Andolfo's Mercy number 5. It's a wee indie title I've been very much enjoying. Nailbiter Returns number 4. Never a bad week when a new issue of Nailbiter comes in. That has been awesome so far. We've got Plunge number 6, so that is bringing to an end the Joe Hill House line. I really do hope they do some more of that as well. The Question, the Deaths of Vic Sage, so issue 4 of that. So again, that's coming to an end. So there's a lot of good titles this week coming to a conclusion for readers, which is pretty cool. We've got new Suicide Squad coming, new That Texas Blood coming. We've got Wonder Woman coming. And then there's a little bit of X-Love in there as well. There's a new issue of Hellions, new issue of X-Factor, new issue of X-Men. And then there's also the second part of the X-Men God Loves Man Kills extended cut as well. Year Zero number 4 is coming as well. But one title I do want to swing back around to that, may have been conspicuous by its absence there is Kanto number 2 and the Hollow Men. This is going to be a brand new number 1 coming this week. We are very, very excited about it. We love the first Kanto. We push it in the store all the time in graphic novel form. It sells out all the time. We're consistently getting it back in and back in. Wonderful, wonderful all ages tale. And it's something that we discuss at length on our upcoming podcast number 100. And, we had a really good time chatting about Kanto, Keith, Roddy, myself and Vicky. We've got a few surprises lined up for that podcast as well. So podcast number 100 is coming soon. There may even be a variant for it. Who knows? Stay tuned. So yeah, Kanto number 2 coming this week. It's really grown. I mean, it's grown sort of 5-fold since the first Kanto in terms of pre-orders for it. We do have extra copies coming though as well. So if you're a little late to the party, that's absolutely fine. We'll get you sorted. But as an all ages title, it's something you could read as a long time comic reader or as something you could pass to maybe a younger member of the family for their first comic book. Kanto is unrivaled at the moment, to be honest, and we absolutely love the title. So just wanted to throw a little bit of love towards that. So yeah, tons to look forward to. And as I say, keep an eye out for that podcast number 100. That'll be coming next week. There are a few bells and whistles with it as well. So really looking forward to launching that. So yeah, I guess it's time to talk about fandom. You guys all sit up and watch it, I hope. It was obviously marketed as a 24-hour continuous event, and that is true. But it was essentially 8 hours of new content, and then they were going to repeat it on a loop, so people all over the world, different time zones could watch it at different times. For us, it started at around 6 p.m. I stayed up until just after 2 watching it continuously. Headphones in, crouched over by the computer over there, and it was awesome. It was really, really well put together. It was a real sort of geek nirvana, pun intended, when I get to something later on. But in terms of new announcements, there were a few things that seemed to be slipping out before the event happened, a few leaks. There was a leak of a trailer here or of images there. It's something that really bothers me that these leaks come out when this is an event people have been looking forward to for weeks, for months, or, setting aside all their plans on a Saturday to sit and watch it consistently. And then people feel the need to throw leaks out there and so forth. So I have zero time for it, to be honest with you. So just sit and enjoy the event. A lot of planning has went into this. A lot of money has been spent putting it together, and making it accessible worldwide as a global event simultaneously cannot be underestimated how big that is. So for me, I think you got to show the respect and actually, just catch the event as it goes instead of seeing leaked images or, rough cuts of trailers that someone's recorded on their phone or whatever. So my latest rant is over. I'm off my soapbox now. I'm just going to focus on fandom itself. So I have put a little article up on the Coffee and Heroes website, coffeeandheroes.com. So I have put an article up detailing all of my thoughts on it. I've put the trailers up there as well so people can easily link into them. They're all in one place. But I'm just going to take you through it a little bit now anyway, just in case you don't check out the website. And why don't you? And you just watch the YouTube stuff. So, as I said, presented tons of announcements, tons of trailers, new footage, fun panels, great behind the scenes stuff. It kicked off at 6 o'clock with a bang. So Wonder Woman 84 was the first thing that was shown. So there was a great panel put up first of all for this, which had Patty Jenkins, had Gal Gadot, had Chris Pine, had Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. So, you know, they're playing Maxwell Lord, Pedro Pascal. You've got Kristen Wiig as Cheetah or Barbara. You have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and you have Steve Trevor in the form of Chris Pine, Patty Jenkins' director. Wonder Woman's had a little bit of a rough ride because Wonder Woman 84 should have been released by now. They originally moved the release date back. I believe it was originally due out last year. Then they moved it back to put it more in line with the release of Wonder Woman, the first one. Beautiful poster. And also out on June 1st, which means a lot to us because it was the day we opened. So we are really looking forward to Wonder Woman 84. But again, it's something that has maybe become a little bit of a victim of the pandemic, so to speak. You know, might be a slightly poor choice of words, but it's been moved back and moved back. It's under pressure to be released. Should it be released in a reduced capacity cinema? Should it be released at home where people will see it on different size screens or with different audio setups and that kind of thing? Because this is a movie that's very much made for the cinematic experience. This latest trailer looked brilliant, big and epic. I love the Washington setting for it. You know, most superhero movies, if they're Marvel movies and they're Earth set, they're mostly set in New York. If it's a DC movie, they're mostly set in Gotham or Metropolis, which is sort of a version of New York. Or the first Wonder Woman was set, obviously, back in World War One. But with this one being set in Washington, I thought it was a really interesting setting. You know, Captain America, actually, I should say, is a great example also. The Winter Soldier, which is set in Washington. And I think it just really gives it extra sort of levity that you're setting it in sort of the capital of, you know, justice and truth in the American way and all that kind of stuff. But I think it just gives it a fresh look as well. You know, there's great looking scenes in the trailer of Wonder Woman running down the street towards the Capitol building. You know, panic and traffic all over the streets and all that kind of stuff. You know, it looks really fun in terms of it being a fish out of water movie for Chris Pine. Obviously in the first one it was, you know, Diana learning what it was like to be in the human world, and she was the fish out of water, and there were those fun scenes where she's getting dressed in, you know, normal clothes and all that kind of stuff. But in this, it had him being dressed in the 80s. There's a really lovely scene in it, actually, where they're in a fighter jet, and Steve sort of goes, "The way I fly, they'll never catch us." And Diana's sort of like, "Oh, God, I haven't told you about radar." It's like, what? They can find us? Are they going to shoot us? Just looks insanely charming. And the action looks great as well. I thought the early look at Cheetah was really good. And I have to say that I will never get bored of watching Wonder Woman using the lasso to ride lightning to get from one place to another. That is just an awesome visual, and I think that's something you'll see utilized a lot in the marketing of this because it's quite unique, you know. So the next big trailer that came up was actually for a game as opposed to a movie. And that was for Gotham Knights, which is the latest one from Warner Brothers Montreal. So this one, just from the sort of small pool of people I've been chatting to, seemed a little bit more divisive. There are some people who are a bit disappointed that it's not just another straightforward Batman game. You know, they come to Batman games for Batman, so to speak. And that they actually accuse this of looking a little bit like DLC. I think that is a little unfair. I think based on the footage shown, you can see this world has been built for these four characters. So you're essentially getting the choice here of playing as Nightwing, Robin, Red Hood, and Batgirl. I think it's been confirmed that the Robin is Tim Drake. I wish it had been Damian Wayne. That would be the one thing I would change, but I'll get over it. But the main thing that really attracts me to this game, other than, you know, a good proven track record, is the co-op. You know, the one thing with a Batman game is, certainly with the Arkham games, they've been very much loner games. You are the world's greatest detective and you work alone. You know, Robin has popped up here and there, Nightwing's popped up here and there, but it's never been a co-op thing. And the idea of playing 4-player co-op through Gotham's seedy underbelly just sounds awesome to me. I thought the gameplay looked really smooth and fluid. I thought that there was one thing that a lot of people are maybe poking a little bit of fun at, which I kind of think is kind of funny as well. But, you know, Bruce... So spoilers, first of all, if you haven't finished Arkham Knight, skip forward 20 seconds. But at the end of Arkham Knight, you know, Wayne Manor's destroyed. For all intents and purposes, Batman's dead. So this game picks up and it's all about Batman passing the torch on to those who he has trained so well and those who he trusts to take over. So I love the idea that like Nightwing and Batgirl and Robin just, you know, take down criminals using non-lethal means and, you know, utilizing all their weapons, obviously causing a lot of pain, but not killing. And then you just got Red Hood who shows up, it's just everything he's doing, he's just shooting guns the whole time. It's like, don't worry, I'll kill for all of you. But no, I think this looks great, and I already thought it looked great, and then it got to the last minute of the trailer, and they started introducing the Court of Owls, and I started getting chills. It was just finally a perfect representation of the Court of Owls. I understand that they were utilized in the Gotham TV show. I'm not a fan, so I never watched it. I saw pictures of like feathers and stuff. Just destroyed me. But this looks perfect. It's that clinical, you know, faceless mask that's sort of cold, and they showed off footage of all the talents being kept in deep freeze, ready to be unearthed when they need to be. And they sort of started quoting the nursery rhyme over the top about the Court of Owls who are always watching you. So I thoroughly loved this trailer. Absolutely loved it. I will be buying this day one, and I call dibs on Nightwing. So yeah, that was Gotham Knights. There was a very quick panel with The Flash. Not an awful lot of information through it, but there was a brief panel with director Andy Muschietti, the screenwriter Christina Hodson, who, this will either attract you to this movie or not, but she was the screenwriter on Birds of Prey, which I enjoyed, so I'm more than happy with that. And then there was a quick appearance by Ezra Miller as well. They were answering some questions from fans, and obviously this is something that hasn't even begun shooting yet, but they did show off some concept art for the Flash's new suit. I do really like the new wings on the suit. I think they're really, really class. And there was also this this screen grab with Batman fighting behind him, and that looks suspiciously like the Michael Keaton 1989 Batman suit, right down to the yellow symbol. So we did have confirmation leading up to Fandome that Ben Affleck's going to be back in this movie, and apparently it's going to be more than a cameo. He plays a proper part in it, and I think they've all but signed and sealed Michael Keaton. I don't think they've 100% confirmed that yet. So it's one to keep an eye on. It's not one that we know an awful lot of information about at the moment, so it's kind of hard to get excited about it, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. The next one up was an absolute joy to watch. The next one that came up was the panel for The Suicide Squad, which is James Gunn's take, soft reboot, soft sequel, sort of, to the original David Ayer Suicide Squad. There are certainly people from the first movie that are in this one. So Margot Robbie's there as Harley Quinn, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, for example. But there are a ton of new characters in this. A lot of them seem to be a Marvel alumni as well. You know, James Gunn has brought across quite a few people from the Guardians movies, for example. You know, Michael Rooker's come across, just as one example. But the panel itself was a lot of fun, first of all, because what it was James Gunn and 18 of the cast members. And what they did was they made two captains, and the two captains then got to choose their teams, and then they had sort of like almost like a quiz where they talked about like Suicide Squad stuff from the past and different villains and first appearances, and made it a bit of a quiz. And the chemistry between all the actors was wonderful. I thought that it really showed that they got on really, really well. I get the impression that this was a fun movie to shoot, which should hopefully lead to it being a fun movie to watch. They then showed off some brief behind the scenes footage, not finished footage, so to speak. There was the odd clip here and there. But this looks big, this looks epic. It looks like a war movie from the 70s or something, which is, I think, what one of the producers said. But this looks brilliant. It looks just explosive and big. And the thing with the first Suicide Squad movie is, you know, I'm not going to go into it. It has its fans, it has its detractors. But the one thing I never thought it was a big movie. You know, a lot of it seemed to be set in one long street in Gotham. Whereas this is set in beaches, and it's set at like, you know, dictators' retreats, and there's just tons of great looking stuff, big wide shots, lots of stuff out in the open. Whereas I always got the feeling Suicide Squad, the first movie, a lot of it just looked like it was set on a studio set. So, but yeah, this was a big surprise for me. This was actually my second favorite trailer / announcement / panel of the evening, and it just came out of nowhere, to be honest, because aside from revealing the logo so far, they haven't really revealed an awful lot. So this was a big surprise. They did a great wee roll call teaser trailer as well. And if you've heard of half of these characters, I'd be surprised. But that's kind of the fun, because Suicide Squad at its base level, these characters should be expendable. You know, you could tell in the first movie there was no way certain characters were going to die because they're big characters. So I like the approach with this. And yeah, it just looks awesome. Second favorite trailer of the night. Which brings us on to the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So we had a quick panel with Zack Snyder where he was asked a few questions from some of the cast members. Big surprise to see Ben Affleck there asking a question. Big surprise to see Henry Cavill, for example. Then there was a couple of quick panels with people who were very, predominant in getting the Snyder Cut movement going, so to speak. And then there was a trailer. So the trailer, about 2 minutes long, kicked off with Hallelujah as the song, which I'm pretty sure Snyder used in Watchmen. And it instantly started with big epic footage. Straight away, Darkseid. Straight away, nightmare setting, the Hall of Justice under a pile of rubble. And I don't know if people noticed, but there was a little thing just flew across the screen. And you could see it was a Joker card as well. Just a nice wee touch. I don't have an awful lot to say about this. I think the fans that have always petitioned for the Snyder Cut are a positive group of people. I've said this a few times, they raise money for suicide prevention charities. They essentially supported Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder, who are husband and wife and also director and producer on this. They supported them through a really hard time. The death of a daughter, I can't imagine, first of all, but in those sort of circumstances as well. And then having to step away from the movie. And I like to think that with the movement for this, coming back to fruition, with, the fact that this exists is a miracle. The studio have actually listened to the fans and they're now giving the fans what they want. And I get the feeling that Zack completing this movie will be extremely cathartic for him and his wife. And in a sense, this release, it sort of represents hope. It's hope for the Snyders to find peace after the tragedy that befell them during the original shooting. It's hope for the fans who always wanted to see this cut instead of endlessly, thinking, what if, oh, we wish we could have seen this movie. It's not a bad mantra to base a movie on, hope. But yeah, the big news with it was that it's going to be released as 4 separate 1-hour episodes, but there's also going to be a 4-hour cut of the movie, so depending on how you, divulge your content. There was also good news to hear that Snyder was saying that even if you don't have HBO Max, because it won't be available in all countries, he's going to find they're currently working on distribution deals so that you can actually pick this up straight away, which I think is essential, because otherwise, you're just going to end up streaming it from an illegal site because you don't want to have things spoiled on you, and then maybe you're watching it and not the best clarity or version of it. I would love a 4K Blu-ray release the same day that it comes out in HBO Max. I'd be straight there to buy it. But yeah, as for the trailer itself, tons of new stuff in there. Darkseid, Black Suit Superman, you've got Wonder Woman, comforting a young girl who's been through a traumatic event. You've got the original Steppenwolf, you've got what looks like Daysad in there as well. There's more Flash footage, there's more Cyborg footage, and then the one bit of dialogue that's in the trailer, 2 bits of dialogue, because Flash talks about, these people have fought other people in many different worlds and many different universes. And this one great line where Batman actually sounds like Batman saying, well, they've never fought us, not us united. So I'll gobble this up as soon as it comes out. It could be a masterpiece. It could be a train wreck. It could be a vanity project. Who knows? But at least it's being left for the fans to decide, and they're getting to see it. As I said before, at least you're not always wondering, what if? Copyright Marvel Comics. But yeah, trailer gave me goosebumps. I fully expected it to. But as I said that the Suicide Squad was my second favourite trailer, this was my third. I put this down in third, which is still very high because it was an extremely quality show, but there was something else that stole the show for me, which I'll get to in a few minutes. We have Black Adam. This was a great little panel, and surprisingly, or I should say unsurprisingly, it was entertaining because it was hosted by the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock. The Rock has, or Dwayne Johnson, depending on how you know him, he has been trying to get a Black Adam movie off the ground for years. He has always loved the character. He has always stayed loyal to signing on to make a movie of this character. There's been tons of reports of him being approached for Marvel movies, for other DC movies. And he's always said, no, I want to make Black Adam. There was tons of news at this, which was really surprising. They put together like a little motion trailer, which I thought was pretty cool, going into Black Adam's origin and talking about how, he became, he basically uprised against tyranny to, save his country. But then, it starts off with this line, something like, it needed a hero, but it got me. So straight away, there's going to be an anti-hero, not a hero. But The Rock took loads of questions on this. He mentioned the JSA are going to be in here. He mentioned Hawkman's going to be in here. Dr. Fate in a live action movie. Awesome. So this could be DC's secret weapon. You know, this has gone massively under the radar, a little like Suicide Squad did, I suppose, as well. But, you know, there was even a little part in it where he was talking about how, you know, the Justice League, he sort of goes, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman. There's going to be a new power in town. So there's a way to mix this into all the rest of the other DC movies and just have fun with it. Big, epic scale fun with two evenly matched teams. And he specifically mentioned Superman a lot, which has led a lot of speculation that Henry Cavill will have some sort of role in this movie. So, yeah, Black Adam, really surprised at that panel. Thought it was really cool. So that was that. Then you had the Suicide Squad game, which we knew was announced a few weeks beforehand. I have next to nothing to say about this, simply because it was a lovely cinematic. It was brilliantly voiced and acted. Looks glorious. Full faith in Rocksteady Studios, but there was zero gameplay footage, so I have not an awful lot to say about this. I assume it's going to be a 4-player co-op, very similar to the Gotham Knights game. But at least with Gotham Knights, they showed the cinematic and then they showed the game. But with this, it's very early on in development. You know, I think this has a 2022 release, so loads of time to bring out loads of good stuff. And so we get to the end. The reason I set up to 1:30 in the morning watching DC Fandome. And holy crap, I was not disappointed. The last panel that I watched was Matt Reeves' The Batman panel. Wow. What more do you say? You know, the trailer is getting a lot of attention, and rightly so. The trailer was thoroughly brilliant. I've probably watched it about 7 times by now. But just as important was the panel itself. Some of the other panels felt a little short. You know, I certainly would say the Zack Snyder one was a little shorter than I would have liked. It was maybe like 6 questions and done. Whereas the Suicide Squad one, they found a way to make it fun, but it didn't reveal loads of info. With this had basically 20 minutes of Matt Reeves answering questions, and he just came across as a thoroughly well-informed fanboy. It was brilliant. He spoke with so much passion, so much clarity, desire to make the best possible movie, desire to make something that people hadn't seen before. He name-checked Batman Ego by Darwin Cook, which I thought was a pretty deep cut. He mentioned Chinatown as an influence. That is awesome. Chinatown is one of my favourite ever movies, and it's possibly the ultimate detective noir movie. And what was great about this, as he was speaking about it, was this is a Batman who, you know, he wants to lean on the whole world's greatest detective part. He doesn't necessarily want Batman to just be a superhero who saves the city, so to speak. So he talked about how Batman's superpowers were his ability to endure and also possessing super focus. You know, he wants to present as well at Gotham as one of the main characters in the movie. You know, and what was also great to hear is it's not going to be an origin story. You know, we know how Batman came to be. They're going to drop you into a very raw Batman who's maybe a year, 2 years into being Batman, where he's still learning how to be Batman, essentially. But the Gotham underworld have got him very much in their sights. You know, for those, there's a lot of people who, you know, doubted the casting of Pattinson, for example. I never did, because I've always said, wait and see how they're going to be presented. You know, movie studios are, as much as we like to think we all know better, they want to make money. They want to make a product that appeals to the biggest possible fan base. They want to get the fans on board, and they want it to make money. The only way you do that is by making a good product. And when they cast Pattinson, I thought, well, they must have seen something in him. He's worked with Christopher Nolan for Tenet, which is coming out. He's worked with David Cronenberg. You know, he's openly said he hated making the Twilight movies, but he understood how Hollywood works, and he had to make them to get that next step up. So it was brilliant to finally see him in action, and he has just slipped into the role. This looks brilliant. It's always worrying sometimes to try and get too carried away by a trailer, but the tone and the look of this movie is spot on. The casting looks great. It's dark. It's a detective story. It's got the Riddler as the villain. And this isn't like your campy Jim Carrey Riddler. This is like something out of Seven. You know, there was that fight scene with Batman, and they're like, who are you? And, you know, they played with audience expectations here, because everyone fully expected him to go, I'm Batman. But he goes, I'm vengeance. Brilliant respect for the animated series there as well. So who knows where it will go from here. But in terms of potential and a first look at a new take on an established property, this was absolutely spot on and astounding. And the reaction to it has been incredible, I have to say. and it's great to see, because I have full faith this movie will be great. Matt Reeves has taken his time with it. He's not been rushed into making it, and I hope that this is the first part of, you know, the long rumored trilogy he's going to make. It's going to be set completely outside of the rest of the stuff as well, so it's very much its own standalone thing. So yeah, that was DC Fandome. I mean, for me, it was absolutely a massive success. It showed off great footage, it mixed in big announcements, and there was tons of energy and charisma from all those involved. And I think it was wonderful that it was streamed worldwide. I think that's really clever. There is always a worry that when they pull something off so well as this, that's completely digital, that they'll think, well, why bother with conventions? I hope that's not the case. But as an alternative for the, you know, troubled times we're living in at the moment, I don't think they could have done much more. So there is going to be a second event in September. I believe it's September 12th, which is going to focus on the comics and focus on the TV side of things. So hopefully that will be just as detailed as and as entertaining. So I'm just going to finish off now with a quick unboxing video. I did promise you a little something at the end. Of course, it is perfect that I just did nothing but gush about Batman for 2 minutes, because what we have here is my new statue, Batman with Darkseid Baby. For anyone who remembers Metal, where Darkseid got turned into a baby, this was always a statue. I saw in the pre-order book ages ago, meant to order it, forgot all about it, but then I was doing a big statue order last week and getting loads of new stuff, and I have more statues coming next week as well, actually, I should say. Some really cool ones coming in, but I always wanted this. I mean, just this little Darkseid and a wee baby carrier with Batman, and it's like a bat-shaped head torch. What do you want? So it's always that delicate balance of in store of, should we take statues out of the box and let people see what they look like, or should they stay in the box and be brand new so that people know they're buying something brand new? So it's always good to do an unboxing video every so often of something for myself that you can at least see. So again, coming from the DC Collectibles range, this is a limited run of 5,000. We have got number 894. Batarang, of course, to break the sellotape. So I am seeing this in the flesh for the same time you guys are. I have not resealed this back up. I have had no preview of this, so you're either going to see extreme disappointment from me or extreme joy. We will soon see. But trusty Batarang, of course. Oh, that is the full way round. Nice and sharp. Batarang to open up a Batman statue. You can't beat that. So we open it up and you can see all the different pieces are there. It looks to come in 5 different pieces. So let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got the main torso. Oh, this looks awesome. Look at that detail. Oof. Woof. So yeah, just look at that detail on the bat suit. Look at all the creases, the muscles, the gauntlets, the cape, everything. Look, just really great detail to that. First of all, what we got next, we may pull out Batman's head so he doesn't look like a mindless zombie. Then look at that, you've got the bat torch headlamp there, and the usual happy Batman expression. So let's put that to the side. Oh yes, there we go. This is the best part of this whole statue. Let's hope I don't break it. Baby Darkseid, look at that. This is definitely the reason to get this statue. What else have we got in here? Actually, let's keep all the parts separate for now. Oh, you've actually got a different bat head. I didn't realize you actually got 2 of this. That's cool. So you've got one, actually, why you would want it without the headlamp is beyond me, but you do have a separate head just there as well. Looks a bit angrier in that one. And then we finish off with the last piece, which is the DC Collectibles Stand, which is imbued with lots of markings on it as well, which is pretty cool for, to fit in with the metal design as well. Pretty cool there. You've got the DC Collectibles on the back. You've got handwritten marker there for 894, which is what this one is. So let's start assembling in true Avenger style. I'm assuming that you put this on first over the head, so just snaps perfectly into place, and then let's go with head torch Batman, I would say. And then you have that rather beautiful looking thing. If for whatever reason you prefer, let's see the other one. Just again, I love this magnetic style. It just sort of slots it together pretty perfectly. So that is that. But I'm going to go with Headlamp Batman because Headlamp Batman. So we've got just a couple of little hooks in the bottom of the right boot. So let's put that into place. Again, snaps perfectly together, and voila! We have Batman Dark Knight's Metal Edition with Baby Darkseid. That is freaking beautiful. That is going straight onto the display. Fits in nice and perfectly there with Batman from White Knight, and also we have the Joker from White Knight there as well. So, yep, that's going to do it for us this week. Little unboxing video. I may have one or two more statues on the way for myself, so we will see. But we're coming up with a new way of presenting stuff in store. I'm going to start printing off documents and pictures for what the statues look like inside the boxes, and then laminate those and have those beside the figure, so at least you can get an idea of what's in there. I'm just always a real traditionalist with this. I would prefer to sell something to someone that's brand new rather than being taken out of the box on display. Someone buys it, take it out, try and wrap it the way you found it. So anyway, hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you enjoyed this latest one. Again, don't forget to check out the website for the more in-depth look at DC Fandome, coffeeandheroes.com. I've uploaded about another 200 issues there onto the store as well. And then make sure to keep an eye out, as I say, for podcast number 100, which will be coming in the next couple of days as well. So look forward to seeing you guys in store this week for 3 Jokers and for Kanto. Stay safe out there. Take it easy.